You know, guys, one of the things that made me a fan, a brony, if you will, even though I don't watch the series or on a daily basis or a weekly basis, what made me a fan is how, as I've mentioned before, how this one show, this one franchise has transcended beyond its targeted audience and genre. But what's also made me a fan, a brony, whatever you want to call it, how in the fact that many fans my age, a little younger, older, how they, a little older, I should say, how they basically take time out of their busy schedules to do what they do. And what they do basically is sometimes dedicate time and effort to doing little animation shorts, even if it's about a few seconds, CGI, looping it. Sometimes it's dedicating all their time and effort, or majority of their time and effort, to creating an animated short in an animation style similar to the Disney Renaissance and Don Bluth. But what makes me even more of a fan besides all that, is the fact that you have people take time out of their schedule to sit back and do theory videos, conspiracy videos, kind of speculation videos. Heck, I did 2 speculation videos on April O'Neil of the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtle series, and those have gotten a lot of views. And it all deals with a situation or a storyline that might be happening soon in the current season or the next. But one person, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing the YouTube name right, Moliminous, I think, Moliminous, did a video that kind of caught my attention a little bit. That video was about whether or not Apple Bloom, the little filly, the cutie mark crusader, could in fact be the daughter of AppleJack. Yeah. The question was, is AppleJack the mother of Apple Bloom? And even though it was a short video, clocking in about almost 4.5 minutes, Moliminous kind of in their own way brought up some good pointers as to why that might be the case, why that might be it. He brought up the fact that one of the more recent episodes, When the Apple Lies, could take place in the past. But yet, there's a scene which shows her and her brother Big Mac talking about who's going to inherit the farm from Granny the day that happens. Now, a lot of fans, besides Moliminous, have, basically have done these kind of theory, have kind of come up with a similar theory as to why Applejack may be Apple Bloom's mom. It's the same with Rainbow Dash. A lot of people pretty much confirm or feel Rainbow Dash could be the mother of Scootaloo. Heck, even some are saying that Sweetie Belle could be the daughter of Rarity. But here's something from a theological and logical standpoint to that. As great as these theories are, believe me, they are great. But as great as these theories are, here's the problem. Here's the problem with them. Here's the problem. The problem with this theory, the problem that's similar with Rainbow Dash and even Rarity, is there is no way possible that these characters can be the mothers to their own sisters. Hear me out. Or their own adopted sister in the case of, or protege in the case of Rainbow Dash. But let's look at it this way. Let's look at it by using the Equestria Girls version of these characters as a comparison. See, in Equestria Girls, the main 6 or 7, depending on how you look at it, the main 6 or 7 are described as teenagers either in their junior year or going into the senior year of high school. That's what it is. They are described as teenagers either going into the junior or senior year of high school. All right? I would mostly think along the lines of maybe senior year. Basically, they're out of the junior year going into senior year. But what I'm trying to say is just by looking at the fact that they are students at a high school that's portrayed as teenagers, here's the thing. If they're portrayed as teenagers in the Equestria Girls line, which I guess from a continuity standpoint has some connection to Friendship is Magic, especially if they're hinting, as I suggested in one video, at a possible sequel which could be a crossover with the pony versions of themselves, then I think the obvious answer is that Applejack cannot be Apple Bloom's mother because she is the pony equivalent of a teenager. She's basically the pony equivalent of a human teenager. That's what she is. I know that sounds a little weird because ponies and animals can age a lot quicker than humans can. I get that. You take the age that an animal's at right now and then you multiply it by 7, 6, 5, 9, whatever, and that's their age. I get that. But this is not, but here's the thing. Okay? Here's the thing. Animation, fictional cartoons, they don't think along that logic, especially something like My Little Pony. So the thing is, honestly, when one looks at it, to answer Moliminous' theory, there is no way Applejack is Apple Bloom's mom. Same as the fact that there's no way Rainbow Dash could be Scootaloo's mom. And there's no way, in fact, that Sweetie Belle, is Rarity's daughter. All because of the fact that these characters are teenagers. That's what they are. Now you might say, well, Rainbow Dash is now at Wonderbolt Academy. Isn't that kind of like, I don't know, military school? Not really. A military school is where you're at a lot of the time. Okay? You come home and all that, but then you go back. It's kind of like a military school, but it's more like a, how do I put this? It's more like a, I don't know how to put it. More like a Blue Angels kind of school. The Blue Angels are a fighting force and all that, but at most times, maybe I'm wrong, you can correct me, the Blue Angels are usually meant to be flown around as part of shows, touring shows and stuff like that. Again, maybe I'm wrong. But the point is, folks, that's what the Wonderbolt Academy is. It's basically like the equivalent of a Blue Angels-like academy where you learn to fly and do certain stunts for aerial shows that you're a part of. Now, getting back on track here. I understand that you might point that out. Okay, fine, but here's the thing. There is no Wonderbolt Academy, as far as I know, in the human version of Equestria. Okay? There's no Wonderbolt Academy. Unless they bring that in later on, which I seriously doubt. But getting back on point here. The thing is, when you look at it from the perspective of, how the human versions or representations are represented or showcased, then pretty much you're looking at the fact that Applejack is a teenager, is the equivalent of a human teenager in Ponyville and in Equestria. That's what she is. She is the equivalent age-wise of a human teenager. Now you might say to yourself, well, Brian, how can that be? She takes on all these chores and responsibilities. Well, that's where the whole situation of maybe her parents have died. Well, not have, but have indeed died and passed on. You see, we've seen stories where characters like an Applejack and a Big Mac, they can still have fun. They can still go out and have fun, be themselves, have a good time, still get to do the things they like to do. But the situation is this. Okay? These kind of plot elements always cause the older sibling to have to grow up a little faster. Not necessarily too fast, but basically take on more responsibility, kind of mature in some areas that they necessarily would take their time in doing so. A good example of this would be Lilo and Stitch. In Lilo and Stitch, Nani, I think that's her name, Nani, after her and Lilo's parents died, took on the responsibility of being Lilo's guardian, sort of being her surrogate mother, even though she was her sister. And thus, she had to take on the responsibility of providing a roof over their head and food. Basically, home and shelter and food. Basically, she had to take on the responsibilities of providing a living for them by going out and getting jobs here and there and doing what she can, as well as putting Lilo through school and I guess putting her through, like I said, through school and and dance school. I guess you could say the Hawaiian dance school. She had to do all that. She had to take on all those burdens. She had to take on the responsibility of keeping the house maintained and making sure chores were done and cleaned and stuff like that. She had to do that. And when one wants to look at that when wondering about what happened to Applejack's parents and if they're dead, you want to look at it from that perspective, that's exactly what Applejack and Big Mac have done. The parents passed on, we don't know when, and thus they took on the responsibilities that their parents had taken on. They took on the responsibilities of keeping the farm intact, of keeping the farm business, their apple cider business, whatever it is, their apple business, in check. They're the ones that kept the animals fed. They're the ones, like I said, kept the farm afloat. They're the ones that help, in a sense, by continuing what their parents started. They basically took on the burden and responsibility of providing. They're the ones that took on the responsibility of providing room and shelter, a roof over their heads because of what happened. So if you want to look at it from a parental kind of situation, yeah, Applejack did become Apple Bloom's mom, but a surrogate mom. They are sisters, but she and Big Mac became like surrogate parents or adoptive parents because of the fact that the parents are no longer around, and Granny is too old, in a sense, to take on any of that burden, even if she could. The point I'm trying to make is, yeah, you could say Applejack is the mother of Apple Bloom, but you would have to look at it from the perspective of a surrogate, adoptive mother. Because basically by being a surrogate, if not adoptive mother, you're basically applying that Applejack had Apple Bloom when she was a teenager or a very young teenager, and that's not the case. The case here is Applejack can be a mother, or is a mother to Apple Bloom, but she's a surrogate, if not adoptive mother, that's taking on the responsibilities that their actual mother would have taken on had she still been around. That's the truth. That is the absolute truth, and everybody listening knows that. But that's just my opinion, my theory, if you will. But really, that's all I have to say. And just because you didn't, and just another thing, just because you didn't see Apple Bloom in that episode doesn't mean she wasn't around. Sometimes episodes for any kind of series, whether it's live action or animated, doesn't always necessarily need certain characters in there to get the story moving along. So that's really all I'm going to say in my response to Molimous's video. Hope I pronounced your name right. Comment down below those that agree or let me know what you guys' thoughts